Welcome back to another episode of Black Law and Legal Lies, where we specialize in the legal lies. My name is Dan, and I am one of your hosts. You can follow me on Twitter and IG at I am Dan on Drugs. Keep up with the show across all social media platforms at Black Law Podcast. And if you are interested in supporting the show, this means you. If you're interested in supporting the show, I always love to point to the camera and see now that we got the multi-cameras. Which camera? You too. You can check out some of our merchandise at blacklawpodcast.com/shop. We have multiple t-shirts for you to choose from. So if you want to support us, do so. And by multiple, that's two. We about to have a hoodie though, because it's hoodie season.
That's multiple.
Yeah, it is multiple.
Hi, and I'm Justine, and you can follow me on Twitter at I Tell Legal Lies.
And she don't check it.
I do check it. I'm talking to your dumb ass all the time.
Man, you just went down the rabbit hole. I said, can you go check out this one post that I did? Oh man, Drake's dad. And look at this girl talking about something.
I do
Can't
check
nobody tell me nothing.
I do check it. It may be sporadic, but I do check it. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, today we have a rather serious topic. It's serious to me, at least, because I have very, very strong feelings about this particular topic. And that is
you do.
Crack babies.
Wait, really? Why do babies have to be crack babies?
Because essentially that's what they are.
No, they're not.
These days,
they can be heroin babies.
Right.
They can
these
be
days they're not
babies.
But back in our
can
day,
be prescription drug babies.
Nothing.
No, that's real. Yes.
Actually,
yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay, we'll have to get a medical professional to speak on that. I call them crack babies. You could call them any kind of babies. I do.
Wait, any kind of babies?
Before we get into prescription drugs, though, I would say I'm not going to go there because I would need to talk to a medical professional because I know numerous people that have been on high doses of opioid medication while pregnant, and they are rated safe for pregnancy, Percocet being one of them.
Wait. Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Just like methamphetamines, just like heroin, just like
that shit ain't safe.
Cocaine. No, but I'm saying any illicit drug that you use during pregnancy.
Illicit, keyword.
Prescription medications that you use during pregnancy
I disagree.
Also affect your child.
I disagree.
And you said illicit.
Let's talk
about alcohol, because alcohol
that?
Is not illicit. It is a legal drug. So let's talk about alcohol. If we're talking about drug usage during pregnancy, let's talk about it all.
Man, let me finish my premise before we start.
Your premise.
Here's my premise. Crack babies, right? And I'm calling when I say crack babies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm referring to all babies addicted to illicit drugs when they're born. Let me finish my premise.
I didn't say anything.
You was about to.
I didn't say anything. I took a deep breath.
So, in all seriousness, back in our day, in the 80s, they were crack babies. There were babies being born addicted to crack, addicted to cocaine. The way that they were treated, and when I say they, the babies were treated, is not like the babies of today who are born addicted to heroin.
Correct.
They weren't giving these babies low doses of crack cocaine to wean them off. They were letting these babies go through the withdrawals. And
for the most part.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you were rich, maybe there was some kind of other alternative. But these days, we're seeing a lot of children being born addicted to heroin, addicted to opiates, addicted to fentanyl and all that other shit, right? I think that, me personally, because apparently it's not a crime, I think that shit should be 100% illegal, and I think the mother should go to jail for attempted feticide. That's just me, and
your premise is extremely interesting.
Why?
let's explore.
Let's go.
Okay, so you keep saying, and your keyword is illicit.
That's not my keyword. I heard you say it,
No.
so I started repeating it.
Honestly, a mother who is taking any sort of substance that could harm the child, in my head, should be held accountable. Period. But,
Mhm.
you also said something during your soliloquy about apparently it not being illegal. That's actually not true. It is there's laws on the books for several states. I think it's like, let me say, it's so one state allows assault charges to be filed against the pregnant woman
Okay.
who used use certain substances. 18 states actually consider substance abuse during pregnancy to be child abuse under civil child welfare statutes, and 3 states actually consider it grounds for civil commitment. So basically what that is, you are involuntarily committed to drug treatment program.
Which
So
means what?
which means that the judge says you go to treatment, you go to treatment, or you go to jail. But I said one state. That state happened to be, I said one state actually has the law that allows prosecution for assault. That state is the state of Tennessee.
Mhm.
Thing is, as far as I know, that particular law sunsetted, which means when the law was enacted, I think they did it in 2014, if I'm not mistaken. I'll correct myself at a later date if I'm wrong, but I think 2014 is when they did that, and the law went into effect, and it was supposed to stay effective until 2016 if the
So they didn't vote
Congress
it
of
back
the
in.
state of Tennessee didn't do something to prolong its effect. But I can't remember whether or not they did. If they did, then it's still active. If not, 2016 is when it ended. But the crazy thing about that, though, when we start talking about the criminalization, and back in the day, more often than not, when crack was an epidemic, everything in relation to crack cocaine was criminalized. So people who sold it, people who used it, they were all treated the same. It wasn't, oh,
Let's put
poor
them in
them.
rehab and
Let's
yeah.
right. So, fast forward 2018, there's this opioid crisis, because it's an epidemic, but it's a crisis, and there's not a war on opioids. There was a war on crack.
There actually is a war on opioids, and I can tell you it's not a very effective war, and
Wait,
it's nowhere
where's the war?
near.
Where's the war come from?
Well, I'm
Because
gonna tell you. Let me tell you. It's nowhere near the level of the war on
Right.
drugs of the 80s,
Right.
but what they're doing is the FDA is constantly revising the guidelines that doctors have to follow when prescribing these medications, right?
Well, if that's the case,
So,
if you consider that a war, I
well, wait,
guess
let me tell you, because there's what you have chronic pain patients, right, who see pain management specialists.
right.
So some of these people, no lie, they really do need these drugs to function. Think of somebody who has a fused vertebrae in their neck and
Nerve damage.
yeah. Now they're being criminalized by the FDA with these new regulations. So one of the regulations that come to mind is you can't prescribe more than 7 days worth of an
Pill.
opioid medication. For these people, they're used to getting 3-month supplies, and then they go back to their pain management specialist 90 days later, and you get, another 3-month supply. So then it turned into monthly. And these aren't prescriptions that you can call into a pharmacy. You have to physically go to your doctor's office, be seen,
Right.
get a physical prescription, take it to the pharmacy. So,
Almost
okay,
like antipsychotics, huh?
I guess I wouldn't I wouldn't know. But so then that turned in to okay, well now we're gonna count your pills. Now, mind you, yeah, people do abuse these medications. I know lots of people, including myself, who have recreationally used these specific medications. I know people that go see pain management doctors who turn around and sell their medications.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
let's say 20% are doing that, okay? 25%. So 75% of these people still legitimately need these medications. So
I
they're
think
being
the percentage is higher, but okay.
could be, I don't know. But I'm just kind of thinking out loud.
Just winging it.
Just
That's the
yeah, we,
last
we don't
part of
need
this
no
legalized
facts.
situation.
Fuck,
Okay.
fuck them
Mhm.
facts and
Mhm.
shit, man. So nah, so 25%, let's just say 25% abusing, but the other 75% have to suffer, right? So now they feel some kind of way when they're being told, okay, we're going to have to limit your quantity.
Mhm.
You're going to have to come in every so often so I can count your pills to
Mhm.
see how many you're
You're
taking.
using correct.
And not only that, I'm going to have to drug test you because now they're making you
Because
do
if you're using these pills as well as other
other
things.
like weed, and in some
Mhm.
states weed is legal, but still. And then they're also making you sign contracts. Now, these are pain management doctors I'm talking about, making you sign contracts saying you cannot go to another doctor and
To get another
receive.
script.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
now here's the kicker
Because
though.
but think about that. That's what people used to do.
Used to, but here's the kicker. I'm thinking right now, my mind's on the honest people, right? So I'm seeing this pain management specialist. I'm on a motorcycle. I'm feeling good one day because my little Vicodins and shit done kicked in and I can move around. I fall off my motorcycle. I break my arm. I go to the ER. The ER,
They can't give me
well, they
pain
can.
meds.
But once my pain management doctor finds out, I'm
They can
dropped.
cut me.
Yeah. So it's like you have to notify the ER that I'm currently seeing a pain management specialist and
But
I'm
you're in
taking.
pain and your head is not there.
Right.
So
So it's like you're in a sense you're criminalizing the people, and not
that's
criminal,
not I was
not
about to
right,
say they're
not
not criminalizing,
criminalizing in the sense of
but
the law, but
but
you're
you
making them feel like criminals.
also, you said something about the war on opioids. And honestly, that is not really a war per se, but I know there are a lot of state attorney generals that are suing or have sued Big Pharma because of the influx of these opioids into these states. And you know, I I know we know theoretically that caused a lot of these middle farm America states and cities and towns to actually be like the center of this opioid crisis
Yeah,
because
small middle America basically.
because of the all the influx of pills. But and so if you want to consider that a war, but it's not the criminalization that we saw, you like you mentioned, in the 80s and the 90s, where like I said everybody was going to jail.
Mhm.
But these days, and I guess it's because, and I'm not gonna knock it, it upsets me because it affected black and brown people more so, and it's still affecting them because there are actually people still in jail for charges related to crack cocaine. And so we fast forward 2015, 16, 17 to now, and the whole train of thought as far as this opioid crisis in comparison to the crack epidemic, train of thought changed. And while that's a good thing,
It changed because it's white versus black.
exactly, and that's where I was going with this. The criminalization of people who were addicted to crack cocaine, it inordinately affected black and brown people. Then, as I said, you fast forward, you have this whole paradigm shift, you have this whole mindset shift in relation to addicts, but it's because meth and fentanyl and heroin and all these drugs that are at the epicenter, even this prescription medication, all this stuff that's at the epicenter of this crisis, this epidemic, it affects Billy Bob, and Jane and Becky. It affects white America. So now, addiction is an illness. We shouldn't punish them for something that they can't control. So going back to the topic of the show, when you start thinking about what do we do to the mothers of babies who are born
Real
addicted?
quick, let me jump in. Malcolm X, right? Yo, no, now this is actually some serious shit. No bullshit. I didn't even know this. I've been watching The Godfather of Harlem, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know Malcolm ran with Bumpy Johnson, but he had those rehab centers.
They had a little alliance going on.
So he had the rehab centers where he was getting all the black folks that were strung out on the streets and tying them to beds, making them sweat it out and whatever, right? One of the things, Malcolm, he was addicted to a lot of shit himself.
Heroin.
White women. And the thing that this stuck out, he said, it's not the actual addiction you have to treat. It is the root of the addiction. It is why why you're doing what you're doing.
Right.
Get
why
to the root of the problem. So he said the root of his problem was low self-esteem and I forget what the other one was. Oh, trauma. Low self-esteem and trauma. So
you're self-medicating. I don't want to face the reality of my life, and so I want to check out.
Right.
Because you think about it, that's any addict. That's an alcoholic. That's a gambler. Any addict, period. So as I was saying, you go back to, is it a crime or is it an illness? Like, when you start thinking and when you actually designate addiction as an illness, then
things change.
What do you do with the mothers of these children who are born addicted? If addiction is an illness, do you jail them?
Yes.
Why?
Because this is my view on drugs. My view on drugs is I'm all for them, and we've even said on this show, legalize them all. Because let's face it, if Ann wants to go out and smoke crack, even though it's illegal, that's not going to stop Ann from smoking crack. If I want to go out and pop some damn Mollies and whatever these kids are doing these days, what are they doing these days? They taking Xanax. I got a prescription for that. I got a prescription for that shit, niggas.
They snorting Ritalin.
Well, whatever the hell.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever they doing. It's like, yo, the law, even firearms. We did a whole episode about firearms. There's laws saying felons can't have them. That doesn't stop them from having them. So, fuck it. People are going to do what people are going to do. So, let's not criminalize it. However, this is as long as it only affects you. So, if you take your crack, you got your little eight ball. Is there 8 balls of crack?
I don't know nothing about crack.
I should actually know this.
I'm sure you sold some crack.
Like once or twice.
I don't know nothing about crack.
But anyway, you got your little whatever, and you smoking it, personal use. That's on you.
I know you got an 8 ball of heroin.
Do you? Why are we watching that shit? Right? the Godfather of Harlem. And Becky looks at me and says, "Those drugs are fake." So I said, "What?" "Yeah. Look, it's brown. It's not white."
What, the heroin? Seriously? Oh.
I said, "Cocaine is white. Heroin is brown." And she says, "Oh, I didn't know that. I thought you injected it." I said, what does the color have to do
With
with
you injecting it, right?
So anyway, funny story. She is very clueless.
Oh,
But
Lord.
like it's not with you smoking your crack. It's not affecting anybody but you. Now, granted, you can be hurting the people around you.
So that is
That's
affecting someone other
that's
than you.
affecting
See,
them.
that's what.
However,
that is exactly what I was about to say.
however,
Drug abuse affects society.
however, your drug abuse, right, is affecting the people who allow it to affect them.
No, because when you
Yes.
OD, wait, watch this.
Mhm.
When you OD and somebody calls 911,
Fuck that. I'm not calling 911.
but that's the thing. So you go watch Paul OD and you just go let him die.
Yes.
That's
'Cause
that's what you're gonna do.
If Paul were an addict and he's addicted to crack, because Paul would be addicted to crack. If he's on crack and I'm like, "Hey man, you need to slow down with your crack consumption," and he's like, "Nah, I got this," and he lights up his, back in the day we used to call it a glass dick, but he lights up his glass dick and gets high, and I'm like, "Hey man, you need to slow down." Can you OD on crack? I don't think you
Yeah, I'm
can.
sure you can.
Well, I guess you go OD on anything. So he ODs. You know what I'm doing? I tried to told you, bruh.
Man, I doubt that. But moving on, because I don't want to debate.
It's not.
I don't want to debate whether or not you're
Okay.
gonna do anything.
What I'm getting at is it when I say it affects the people around you, I'm talking about family, friends, etc. Right? But that's only if they allow it to.
The community, period. Because you think about, so someone who doesn't have the resources to go to rehab, there's a way for them to go to rehab free of charge to them, but it's via programs that are funded by taxpayers.
Okay.
So, like I said, addiction, period, it affects communities, it affects states, it affects nations. Period. Yes, it does. And it does. Yes, it does.
Tell me right now, just to shorten this whole, because this can get
Because
drawn
it
out.
can get ugly. It can get
Shorten
ugly.
it out. Tell me how it affects me. How does addiction affect me? Somebody else's addiction.
Once again, your tax dollars.
I have no say over where my tax dollars go
Your
anyway.
but
it
it's
doesn't
a drain.
matter.
It's a drain on resources, because the reason why you have programs that are funded by the federal government for addiction is because addiction exists.
So you mean to tell me that this pothole in my street is not filled because of some fucking drug addict?
It might. It might just.
Please.
Well, no, because things are earmarked.
Yeah,
But
I know.
things are earmarked. But if you didn't have this money earmarked to go to an addiction program, it could be utilized somewhere else.
They crooked ass politicians,
But
man. It don't matter.
But so going back though to what we were talking about, because we definitely can go down the rabbit hole on this thing, I want to give you a few other highlights, because I mentioned that one state that actually criminalizes and assault.
Tennessee.
Right, assault is actually the crime that you could be prosecuted for. In Tennessee, there are 18 states that consider substance abuse during pregnancy, I said that, to be child abuse. So basically what that means is it can be grounds for termination of your parental rights.
Oh, I thought you were about to say the pregnancy. I was about to say, damn, they going hard. Bitch,
Nah.
you can't have no baby.
Nah, but no, because they consider it child abuse under the civil child welfare laws.
Mm-hmm.
Just like if I'm smacking you around and knocking you up against the walls,
It's no different.
that can get my rights terminated. This can as well.
Right.
There is no difference. And then, of course, I said there are 3 that are grounds for civil commitment. So I can force you to go into rehab. in 3 states. Now there are also, of those states of the United States, there are 15 that actually require health professionals to report suspected prenatal drug use.
Okay.
So, and there are 4 of those 15 that actually require you to test for prenatal drug use
Wait,
if they
just
suspect it.
okay, suspected.
If they suspect it. So
That'd be fucked up. You be excited. It's your first pregnancy. You giving blood. They're like, what's
tested.
this for? We're testing you for heroin, bitch.
So we're talking about how it affects the community. There are 4 states that have 4 states that prohibit publicly funded drug treatment programs from discriminating against pregnant women. And there are 18 states that have either created or funded drug treatment programs specifically targeted to pregnant women. And there are 10 that actually give women access to state-funded drug programs free of charge. And so that's why I said it's a resource drain. That's just like, you remember back in the day when all these states sued Philip Morris, and Philip Morris had to pay
for the tobacco
for all
shit,
this,
yeah.
right? Same thing. That's what all these attorney generals are doing with Big Pharma. Having them pay for these drug treatment programs that people are now having to enter into. But something else that I found when I was I just did a little research, and it wasn't a lot. Just typed in and did a little cursory research as far as people who actually were prosecuted under, not every last one of them was, because as I said, there's not a lot of states who actually make it illegal or make it criminal to actually prenatally use drugs. So, but there are some cases, about 2025, that I looked through, where the states tried to use other criminal statutes, or not, they didn't try, they did. They used other criminal statutes to prosecute these mothers, and a lot of them were found guilty.
Good.
The crazy thing though was a vast majority of those cases, the verdicts were overturned. They got off. And what's crazy, there are 2 states. Let me get them.
Man, that's fuck that shit.
Oh yeah, they got off, but there were 2 states. And I know you are going to like this.
Let me guess. DC and, well, that's not a state, but Virginia and Maryland. Regardless, man, fuck that shit. These motherfuckers need to be charged, convicted, thrown under the jail, and then be forced to have their babies in jail and then have their children taken from them for, or as you would say in the legal profession, in perpetuity.
Really?
Yes.
In perpetuity.
Well, that shit really.
I know it bugs you, but let's think about this for a minute. Let me go back to what I was saying, and then, because that is actually a segue into the mind of Dan and how, because I know you're very passionate about that particular
I'm passionate
thing.
about everything.
Whatever.
Everything.
But the 2 states that upheld the convictions were South Carolina and Alabama.
Right quick too, Alabama, and they're the ones that banned abortion, period.
Now let me tell you, and they did it, the state Supreme Court, and see, this is where the law gets wonky, because in order for any of these convictions to be upheld, in order for all of these laws to apply, you have to consider a fetus a child. It goes back to what's the definition of a child. And so in the state of South Carolina and in the state of Alabama, the Supreme Court upheld convictions on these mothers because they expanded the definition of child to include a fetus. And that's just like, remember we talked about Alabama's abortion laws and that guy who was suing the doctor
because Planned Parenthood.
They were suing them for the child. As you remember, I think
the father
that's how the
was
case
suing
went.
Planned Parenthood because he didn't want the child aborted, but the mother did.
Right.
And the mother had the abortion. Yeah.
Right. And he was suing the Planned Parenthood on behalf of the child.
The child, yeah.
So, and that was in Alabama. And it was because, like I said, they expanded their definition of what a child is. But this is where, like I said, so now we can talk about you saying, them doing all of this and they should be convicted and buried and this and that and the other. But let me tell you why the reasoning behind what the court did or the courts did in overturning these convictions is because there are not laws. They weren't, the convictions weren't made based on laws that are specific to fetuses or children in utero. They basically, these prosecutors tried to fit a round peg in a square hole.
So
they took existing
at the
law,
children as they were here and walking around.
Right.
Okay.
So, and having said that, this is how you go down the slippery slope. When you say that a mother, like, for instance, a woman is pregnant and she goes skydiving, and as a result of going skydiving, she miscarries. Can you convict her for any crime?
No.
All right. Why not?
Because that was an accident. When let me. You asked me why.
All right, come on.
So that was an accident. Should you be skydiving as a pregnant woman? Well, let's talk about this. Did she know she was pregnant? How far along pregnant was she?
And so all these questions that I'm asking you, or the question I'm asking you, we're going to presume that one, this person knew that they were pregnant.
Okay.
Two, they knew that there was a risk involved that they could miscarry because of this skydiving situation.
They can also miscarry walking outside, slipping and falling. So,
all right, no, we're talking about risky behaviors.
Okay, risky behavior in New Orleans, walking outside.
Shut up.
So, all right, no, I would not prosecute because that would be, in my estimation, an accident. Risky behavior, sure. Should you be skydiving as a pregnant woman? I don't think so. I don't know much about skydiving, but I would say no. But what I do know about is drugs. And that is not accident. You are not accidentally getting your child addicted to heroin.
And you didn't accidentally jump out of plane. So let me finish my thought now.
Hold on. You did not accidentally jump out of plane. You did that on purpose.
You assumed the risk.
But
right.
The miscarriage was on accident.
You purposely jumped out of the plane, and the miscarriage, in my scenario, as I said, the miscarriage was a result of you skydiving.
That's a false parallel to a heroin addicted
I'm saying
woman,
this to say this. Risky behavior. And in this scenario, this mother would not be prosecuted for manslaughter. But
feticide.
Or anything like that. But if she jumped out and that skydiving somehow caused some other harm to the child, then you want, because the child lived, you now want to prosecute her for some sort of abuse to the child.
No.
I'm trying to break it down
Mhm.
into terms that everybody can understand. This is what the reasoning of the court was.
Wait,
You are
so
not-
this is an actual case.
Well, no. This is what the court says. All right. So that was this case, State versus Welch. And this is one of the cases that the judges overturned the conviction. And this is what they said. So the mother, and well, this is a more relevant something. The mother was a drug addict, but for that matter, she could have been a pregnant alcoholic, causing fetal alcohol syndrome. Or she could have been addicted to self-abuse by smoking, or by abusing prescription painkillers, or over-the-counter medicine. Or for that matter, she could have been addicted to downhill skiing or some other sports, creating serious risk of prenatal injury. Risk which the mother wantonly disregarded as a matter of self-indulgence. What if a pregnant woman drives over the speed limit? Or, as a matter of vanity, doesn't wear the prescription lenses she knows she needs to see the danger of the road? So what they're saying is, what these laws would do if you were to allow these convictions to stand, you could criminally charge pregnant women for, so like I said, alcohol is legal.
Alcohol
is it not?
legal.
So alcohol is legal
Now,
and I can drink. So I drink, and because I drink, my child comes out and they have fetal alcohol syndrome.
Go to jail.
You said illicit drugs. Alcohol
I
is not
just
illicit.
repeated the word you
Alcohol
said,
is
going
not
back to the
illicit.
top of the show. You said illicit, so I said illicit. However, I don't give a fuck. You can, like, okay, risky behavior, whatever. That's just a whole other conversation. I'm talking specifically about drug use, whether it be legal drugs, illegal drugs, it doesn't matter. Drugs, period. If you are a pregnant woman and I'm looking at heroin here. This is because I'm looking at fentanyl here, because that's the crisis we face today. If you know you're pregnant and you're offered all of these different rehabilitation centers, things like that, doctors working with you trying to get you off of this shit.
All right, so
And
what if...
Let me finish. So you go through all that. I can tell you about addicts. I know addicts.
Oh, I know addicts.
personally
Oh, I know.
addicts.
I personally know addicts too.
Rehab does not work for addicts unless the addict wants to
Right,
get better.
and that's with any addiction.
So,
that's not just drug
right.
addiction. Now,
Now-
look, I have family members that are addicted to gambling. I have family members that are addicted to alcohol.
I
have
got family addicted to sex. Damn it, they sex addicts.
I have family members that are addicted to
Paul has 8 kids.
crack. Because guess what? Crack is still out there, people, even though we don't hear it. I have a cousin addicted to crack and still smoking it.
Yeah.
So the
what
thing
I'm-
is, I know people who are addicted, and you're absolutely right. Unless they want to stop,
They won't.
they will not stop.
What I'm saying, once you become pregnant, you are, whatever you ingest is
Right.
not only going to you, it's going to
Right.
another person
Exactly
who did
right.
not
But how do you-
who did not consent.
But if you
the
can't
child-
stop, if you can't stop,
You can stop.
If you
You
cannot
can.
stop
You
yourself,
can.
that's the whole
You
point
can
about
stop.
addiction. You need help.
No, you can stop.
need help.
Malcolm X.
You need-
Malcolm X.
You know what
Stop.
stopped him? In jail. He got clean in jail.
He got clean when he joined the Nation of Islam.
He got clean in jail. He found the nation in jail.
He got clean.
Once again,
Because
he
of the
found the jail.
Nation
Have you read the
of Islam.
autobiography of Malcolm X?
Man, I know Malcolm inside and out.
Have you read?
Backwards.
I've read the
I don't read
autobiography of
books.
Malcolm.
I watched the
That's
movie
thing.
with Denzel. With Denzel.
I read the
Plymouth Rock
autobiography.
didn't land on us. We landed on Plymouth Rock.
Really?
That's backwards.
We
but
did
still.
not land on Plymouth Rock.
No,
Plymouth
but
Rock
what? Anyway, what I'm saying
they
is
need help. So
fuck them.
Because if you fuck them, you fuck the children.
No, I'm saying fuck them. Period. Because once you know that you are pregnant, I don't give a fuck.
But how do you
Let me
stop
finish.
without help?
Let me
How
finish.
do you stop?
I don't care. That's your problem.
How do
That's
you
not my
stop?
problem. That's not for me to come up with a solution. That's your problem. You're the one that's
No,
addicted
but you act like it's your problem because you have
Wait,
such
I
passionate
The
thoughts
children are
about
what
it.
I'm worried about. The
Okay,
children.
but
So wait.
what affects the children affects
fuck
them.
you as the parent. Fuck you. If you're seriously, if you're listening and you're addicted to heroin and you're pregnant, fuck you. You're a piece of shit. So at the end of the day, you are harming this child. You know you're pregnant.
You're harming yourself. You're harming the child.
And again, fuck you. Like I just said, fuck you. I don't care about you. You can die. And when
if they die, the child dies.
Right, but I'm just saying you can die, and it wouldn't bother me if the child died. Yes, that will bother me. But these children are being born with they're being born addicted to heroin.
That's correct.
They're going through the same withdrawal symptoms that a regular full-fledged heroin addict. And now they're predisposed to become addicted to opiates.
But here's the thing, though. Most people who are addicts were predisposed to be.
Yeah, that's true.
Because addiction, for the most part, is genetic.
Yeah, I'm an addict. I'm an addict. I have an addictive personality.
Yes,
I get addicted to everything.
Yes, you do.
That's why I can't drink.
You do have an addictive personality. But okay, so rolling it back, you criminalize this, right? Do you know what that does? That stops people from seeking help, because if I'm afraid that I am going to go to jail because
you're not seeking help anyway, though.
But what if I want to seek help? But I'm stopped because I know that according to the law, if I go to seek help, you have to test me. And if I test, if I know that I'm pregnant and I test positive, now I gotta go to jail.
See, but what you're doing is you're taking you're taking a single thought and then we're branching it out here. Okay.
Well, that's what you did.
Right. But all right, now let's climb these different branches. All right. If you are a person who is addicted to again, I just keep saying heroin, opioids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know it, and you're pregnant. Okay, so yeah, sometimes shit can happen because sometimes you out there sucking dick and fucking for heroin, right? You get knocked up. Honestly, at this point is where I would say, and I believe I've said this off the show, this is where I would agree with an abortion. However, if you live in Alabama or you decide not to have an abortion and keep the child, okay, so then you want to go seek help. If you're seeking help and you are following the guidelines and you are staying clean, then we're good. But these aren't the people that I'm talking about, because I'm talking about the people
who are not trying to find help,
and they're giving birth to these crack babies,
and they're birthing addicted children.
Yeah, so even if you do criminalize, these weren't the ones looking for help anyway.
Okay, so then how does it help still to tear? There's so many aspects of this, because okay, now I'm a criminal. Now my rights are taken away. So basically, you're putting more children into foster system, which on another show we'll be talking about. Yourself funneling children into the foster care system is not 100% fix.
No, but I mean, at the end of the day,
so then what do you do?
It's not that I'm making you a criminal, because you were a criminal once you started popping these pills and taking this fentanyl.
So like I said, what's the difference between them popping pills and Betty having a beer? Because beer is legal?
No, that's not the difference. If you're a pregnant woman that is drinking alcohol
and smoking,
same could be said. Man, my mama smoked when she had me.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
I'm all right.
No, you fucked up. But look, so see, that's where you start. It's a wormhole. You literally start going down this rabbit hole. So we're talking, I have a lawful prescription for this medication and I am taking it.
Okay.
And my child comes out addicted to or exhibiting signs of withdrawal for this medication.
Name a medication. Let's find out, because I got a pharmacist right here on my computer. So what are we talking about?
Percocet.
Vicodin. Those are perfectly okay for pregnancy.
Okay, but guess what? Children can still be overused, and children still can be affected by it.
I'm not sure. I'm about to find out now, though.
Let's do this, man.
Because from my understanding, I know quite a few women who have been prescribed Percocet while pregnant.
Okay, so let's read it.
No, I'm asking. I'm asking an
Let's
actual
read it. Come
professional.
on.
You could read it, but I'm asking a professional.
All right, ask a professional.
So, okay, while I wait for my response, anyway, I don't give a fuck. Any harm you do to a child, you unknowingly do it. I don't care if you can't control yourself. You know what? It's not even about you at this point. So, if you want to shoot up, if you want to smoke crack, if you want to do whatever, and you're pregnant, fuck that, man. After you have that baby, and hopefully, we can save this child. I'm stripping, like, if I'm king and I'm dictator, I'm stripping all your parental rights away and I'm throwing you in jail, plain and simple. And I don't give a fuck what the after effects of that is. I don't care, because you're harming a child. Not only are you harming a child, you're harming the development of an unborn child. So who even knows, other than the aspect that they now become predisposed to their addiction that they were born with. Who knows what else you've done, what other damage you've done to these children, man. So
There are lots, because there's actually studies. I mean, children. I can remember reading studies about crack addicted children and developmental delays, and educa- educational um disabilities, just delays, and all sorts of things can occur because of the drugs that were ingested in utero. But as I said before, that whole mindset shift, because all that does, I mean, putting them in jail, putting their children in foster care, all that does
doesn't
is
even need to be foster care. Let's find another responsible relative if they have one.
okay. And if they don't, then what happens? These children get put in the system where we
At
know
least
where we know it's a pipeline for uglier things. So here
wait.
you take them away from the
How
parents who
ugly?
save them.
How
Wait,
ugly? You said uglier things.
right? You
Describe
said
something uglier than having a heroin addict as a mother.
being trafficked for sex.
If that was me, I mean,
Whatever.
I'd
Like
make a couple dollars on
because
the side.
you sent me that article about how
CPS, yeah.
how foster care.
Man, we're gonna do a whole episode on
Exactly. So that within itself, I mean, you're saving the child from one evil and thrusting the child into another.
that. Percocets.
What about it?
If you are nursing, no known risk. If you are pregnant, FDB, I don't know what that means.
Fetal what?
FDB, only when necessary. Risk of neonatal withdrawal syndrome with chronic use. Okay, so you can use it as necessary.
Oh wait,
but you
with
can't-
chronic use. So
Right,
So once
okay.
again,
Okay. So I guess, see, I was looking at it from again, going back to my pain management shit, from the eyes of somebody who's doing the right thing. You can take Percocet while you're pregnant, just not chronically.
okay,
Like,
but if you have a script and you're
Mhm.
abusing that script,
okay, yeah. Okay, same thing then. Same
Okay.
thing as heroin. I wasn't aware of that, but now I am. Because like I said, I know two people that have been prescribed Percocet while like deep into pregnancies, like 5-6 months. And I'm like, yo, you sure? And talked to the pharmacist. Pharmacist was like, yeah, it's okay. As long as, I guess it's not like a everyday 5 times a day popping pills, you'll be good for whatever the
right?
prescribed
But
use
most
is.
people we know, there is an everyday. They be popping Percocet and Vicodin every day, just like I'm drinking beers, I'm drinking wine, I'm smoking, I'm doing. See,
jail.
and all that does is, and we have talked
Mhm.
about jailing people and how that within itself causes problems. You are not a proponent of this legal slavery system
I
that
am
we have.
if you're harming child. Okay, all right. Let me ask you this, because you haven't even given your opinion. What is your opinion on these mothers? A mother that's addicted to fentanyl, smoking fentanyl, or whatever the fuck, however you ingest it, having a baby that's strung out. The medical professionals, I guess, they can't do anything other than try to continue this pregnancy and deliver this baby.
I mean,
So
you can do something. The state of Louisiana is not one of these states that actually criminalize. Hold up. Surprisingly, the state of Louisiana, it is though one of the states where it's considered child abuse and can lead to um having your parental rights removed.
good,
In the state of Louisiana, when abuse is suspected, you do have an affirmative duty to report it.
good.
You do not have, you can't test though if you suspect.
I
Or
secretly test. This is how you test. You leave a little bit of heroin by the bedside and then see what happens when you walk away.
I can't stand you for real. I just can't. But so that's Louisiana does consider it
Okay.
civil child
Well, we ain't
abuse.
talking about Louisiana. We talking about you.
What about me?
What are your thoughts? The child is addicted. The mother is addicted to fentanyl, and they're
All right,
having the
so
child. The child is born. The child is born shaken and going through withdrawals. What is your opinion on this?
This is once again where I have one of these crisis of conscience type situations. The same for me, it's like the same situation as our whole abortion discussion. Because while I see, because back in the day, I said the same thing. Like, bury them all, take them out and shoot them because they're harming. But then I saw what, not something that somebody told me, but I saw, and this is because I saw somebody born addicted to crack cocaine. And I saw the struggles. And it's like, this child was almost doomed from the start. You didn't have a chance. But then you start thinking, if this person had a choice, and I know that when they took that first hit, they had a choice. But after that, was it a choice? Because it's like, would you go through this, feeling like shit and feeling like you're about to die to get off this stuff?
Yes.
Or
for your children, yes.
You keep doing it. But see, let's think about these people who have children that are already there.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that they wouldn't be addicts because of these children.
You would think, yeah.
But they still are. So
but that's the problem I had though, because
they're not thinking rationally. That's the thing. This is what I think. They are you as an addict, your brain chemistry is different. You're not thinking rationally, because what rational person would subject their bodies and their families to something like that? You are not thinking rationally.
I can speak as an addict, and I often think rationally.
Dude,
every thought I have,
you're not. No,
I'm
that's a damn lie.
Look,
that's a lie.
I can tell you.
That's a lie.
Wait, no, because this is serious. I had a problem when I was younger with alcohol, and I'm not too proud to say I was an alcoholic. And what I mean by alcoholic, I'm drinking every day, multiple times a day for years straight.
So let me ask you this: in the midst of your addiction, did you think to yourself, "I'm an addict"?
It got to a point, yeah.
Well,
it took a while to get to that point, but yes.
So it took. Listen to what you said. It took a while, but when you were doing it, you never thought to yourself, "Oh, I'm addicted to alcohol. It's just a fun time. I'm going out with my boys. I'm drinking. I'm having fun." And you know what? That's the mentality of most addicts. Wait, let me finish.
Let me tell you how old I was at the time before you compare how I was thinking and how I was 13 years old.
Honestly,
it does matter.
No, it doesn't. Because I'm telling you, I know you say you have experience with addicts, and so do I. And
Mhm.
I've actually sat and talked to my uncle, and I've talked to my auntie, and it's like, I've never talked to my cousins, but because for somebody who has never been an addict, I'm always trying.
Wait. What?
Has
What?
never been an
What?
addict.
What?
Thank you.
Let's go check your trunk right quick.
Go check my trunk, man. Somebody who has never been an addict. I try to put myself get into somebody's head, because it's like, I would always say to myself, man, you could stop. If you really wanted to, you could stop.
That's the truth.
It's like, but, you start talking to people and you listen to the things that they say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, they need help to do it. They really need help. So it's like, they are punishing themselves. Believe it. And I know you know this, because drinking, you punish yourself. Now, I know about drinking.
Not necessarily.
You do punish yourself.
I mean,
believe me. You punish your body.
Not consciously.
You punish your body.
Mm-hmm.
You punish yourself, and then you risk death. And not just for yourself, for anybody that's around you, because most people who are alcoholics, they're always okay to drive. And
man, let me tell you something.
They're behind the wheel of a car.
I drove better when I was drunk.
And you see, and that's what everybody says.
I got people that will verify.
And I have people that will vouch for me and say the exact same thing, but that's not true.
Right. But look, I wasn't, my shit, okay. I can tell you when I was 13 years old, right? Around 12, 13. We used to call it, when you had a 40, right? The neck. You used to, at the older heads in the neighborhood would let the little young dudes take the neck off the 40, which is, y'all youngins probably don't know what 40s are today.
This part of it?
Yeah, the top part before it curves into and I remember the first time I drunk it, and the feeling I got was, this shit feels great. I feel invincible. I can talk to people now. Yo, what's up, homie? Yeah, I know I don't like you, nigga, but we gonna talk today. Man, matter of fact, we might fight later. But so then
that became your medicine.
Yeah,
that's how you
the longer it went on, and I noticed that, because even back then, it's no secret, I hate life now. I've hated life for the past 30 some odd years, but back then I hated life too. And I actually started having fun. But then it got to a point where it was a problem when people like Paul would refuse to hang out with me if I was drinking. So it got to where I was an irritating drunk. And that's kind of, once all the people I was hanging with that, we supposed to be having a good time. Damn, where everybody at? Nobody wants to fucking be around you if you're fucking sloppy drunk. And I went from just being buzzed to sloppy drunk. And then I'm like,
but you don't know it. In the midst of you being a sloppy drunk, you don't know it, because in your head, man, I'm the life of the party.
Right.
I'm doing this thing.
Fuck is wrong with all y'all?
Yeah, why? What y'all mean I can't stand up?
The night I told this story on the show before, but 17 years old, and there was a gap from when I started drinking daily at about 12, 13 years old, got locked up in the detention center. I was gone for about 3.5 years. I wasn't doing no drinking then. Soon as I got out, though, started drinking again at 16 again, and up until right before I think my legal age that I could drink at 21, I quit and I started boxing. Now, I mean, you know this about me. I'm addicted to boxing. That I replaced one addiction with another. And
you're addicted to exercise.
Yeah. And you know what? It's better than being addicted to drugs and alcohol, but an addiction is unhealthy regardless. So
any sort of fixation.
Going back to me, when people stopped wanting to be around me, and then that night I told this on the podcast where I wrecked 2 cars in one night because I was drunk. I was like, and the first thing I did after I wrecked both the cars while I was drunk, it said, I need a fucking drink.
Drink. Mhm.
So since then, since 20 years old, I haven't had a drink since because I'm like, yo, and some of the people that I was hanging with that were drinking with me every single day, one of them has like liver failure right now, and we ain't even 40 years old, liver failure. Another has a long criminal record of DUIs, DWIs. He has his license permanently revoked, and like others is just all kinds of problems. And I'm like, that could have been me.
Mhm.
Now, did I do it with any help? No. I did it by myself on my own and said, I'm done.
Yeah, but you
Plain and
know
simple.
what? Everybody can't do that.
No, everybody can.
Everybody
But
can't.
what I did was
Everybody
replace,
can't do that.
again, like I said, replace one
One
addiction
addiction
with
for
another.
another.
A
Right.
healthier
A healthy.
alternative,
Right.
but still.
But everybody can't go cold turkey. That's just like I know people who stop smoking and just do it. One day they smoked their last. My auntie did that. Like
Mm-hmm.
she smoked from the time like on my dad's side of the family, they're all smokers. So the auntie that I'm talking about, she started smoking when she was like 10. And that's like not special or in our family because in our family we start drinking and smoking at early ages.
Everybody in New Orleans does that.
Well, see, it wasn't in New Orleans, but still, we started drinking and smoking it. Like I had my first drink when I was like 2,
Mm-hmm.
and my father gave it to me. You know, I smoked my first cigarette when I was 8, and my grandmother is the one that had me do it. So it's like I said, we started early. So she started at 10, and she smoked until she was like, trying to think, how old am I? So,
100.
shut up. All right. When she was 45, I think it was, she stopped, and she stopped cold turkey. But the only reason she stopped is because she had gone to the doctor. She was complaining, you know, something was going on with her throat. And the doctor told her that she had precancerous cells in her throat. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, and he told her if she continued smoking, she would develop
Throat cancer.
esophageal cancer or some sort of throat, laryngeal, esophageal, some sort of throat cancer. So, the very day that the doctor said that to her, she was she was driving with her husband from the doctor, told her husband to give her a cigarette because in her head it was like,
I'm dead.
F them doctors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can't tell me. So her husband give her a cigarette. She said she lit the cigarette up, took a hit, and was like, what the f am I doing? Told her husband pull over. She said she literally threw up on the side of the road because it was like, I am about to kill myself. She
Mm-hmm.
said she threw the whole pack out the window, and that was the last time she lit a cigarette.
Some people
So,
can do that.
right. And see, that's why I said, so you did the same thing with alcohol.
And cigarettes too. There was a time prior to the whole e-cigarette shit. I did the same thing. I had my last pack of cigarettes. I said once I'm done with this pack, I'm done. I stopped for 2 years or so, cold turkey.
I remember when
and
you
then we
stopped.
had a damn hurricane and we had to evacuate. I said, give me all the cigarettes. And then the other thing was biting my nails. I'm a habitual nail biter.
And I remember when you stopped, you had his nails were really pretty.
I grew
He
my
stopped.
nails.
The dude, literally, this boy bites his nails to
till
the
they
point
bleed.
that there's no nail. You're sitting on like
Shit, I got some nails.
you ain't got shit.
I got a little bit. I got a little bit.
Like it is just the nail bed. Period. Like nasty. And he stopped biting them. He had some nice nails.
Cold turkey. So that's why if I'm like, Now, I've been biting my nails my entire life. This ain't no 1, 2, 3, 4 years. I'm talking about since a kid. If I can stop after 30 years, I'm sorry.
Why
I
didn't you
just don't
start it
feel.
again?
I did start again. But you know what?
You
If I was
started again.
pregnant, I would have had the baby
and then started
started
again?
biting again.
Man, so but like I said, it's easy for some people to just stop. But when you have an addiction, like I've never been addicted to heroin. I don't know what that feels like. I've never been addicted to any drugs. So I don't know what that feels like, but they tell me like crack cocaine and heroin. I don't like I said, I honestly don't understand addiction.
Well,
I
why
know
don't we do
people
an experiment
who
then?
are fuck that.
We'll get you
Nah.
hooked on some
Nah,
smack.
bruh. Nah. See, that's what I'm saying. I have like when crack was all the rage, honestly, and my cousin, the same cousin who is still addicted, he encouraged us to smoke with him. And I'm like, and he was like, man, just take a hit.
Yo,
It
that's
feels so
crazy.
good. And I'm like,
Encouraging someone to smoke crack is fucking
yes.
nuts.
He was like, and then this my big cousin, and it's like, shit, if he say whatever. So it's like, man, let's do this. And what's crazy is, plain as day, I will never forget this. We were at my grandmother's house, and my grandmother had this big yard. Her house was on some acres. So she had like my uncles and them would cut back the yard so that she had a nice yard, but everything else on the property was like trees. So what we did, we would go into the trees. We had a log that we would all sit on, and that's where we would do our dirt at. Nobody could see us or whatever. And so we were back there, and dude pulled the pipe out. He pulled, he
You pour
took the foil.
Oh wait,
No.
you had the home age on it.
Look,
You ain't had the car antenna.
look, no, the dude had the pipe, and he unwrapped the foil, and the rock was sitting in there, and he was like, man, it's gonna change your life.
I bet.
And
Shit.
and we were all sitting around or whatever, and they started puffing. And at that point, the most that I had done as far as drugs was concerned, alcohol, tobacco, marijuana. So it was like, the pipe came to me, and I was like, I don't like the way this shit smelled. Because, crack had a nasty ass smell.
It smelled like battery acid.
You know what it smelled like to me? It smelled like roaches. You know how you ever go inside a house that is infested with roaches and it...
Nah, that's just that crack that they smoked earlier in that house. Because every crack house got roaches in it.
No, but that's what it smelled like to me, like roach or pesticide or whatever. And so they passed me the pipe, and I was like, nah, bruh.
Man, I'm glad I came up in a different time because I can't even picture. Because we saw the after effects of what y'all went through. We saw the crackheads mixing. And then it was always the crackheads in the neighborhood walking around bald-headed, missing teeth like they sexy, switching and shit.
Because let me get $5, I'll suck your dick.
And we used to pay them, too.
It was but what was bad about this whole thing, and then we're going to move on, was I had cousins who sold crack. And so my cousins that smoked crack bought it from the cousins who sold crack. And, that's how, like I said, communities, and you're talking about effect, and it only affects the person that's doing it. Nah, it affects the whole community, because my cousins, my family wasn't rich. So they saw people making money, and they were like, yeah, we gonna make money too. But it's like, I understand, I found all this out recently. I knew that they were selling, but I didn't realize that they were selling to family members. And I'm not talking about third cousins once removed. I'm talking about first cousins selling to first cousins. Not only selling to first cousins, selling to uncles.
That's
and
against
aunties.
the rules of the game. Coming up in the 90s, at least, I hung with all the dudes that slung crack. I sold crack twice, like on 2 days, 2 separate days. I sold crack, and I'm like, this shit ain't for me, because you used to have to walk with it bagged up under your
In your
tongue,
tongue.
and then
Mm-hmm.
crackhead come to like spit it out. So I'm like, I ain't walking around, because what if this shit bust in my mouth? Because
Mm-hmm.
oh, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why we carry crack in our mouth is because if you get stopped by the police and search, you swallowed
Swallow
it.
it. Mm-hmm.
And if one of them bags busted in your stomach, you will be high as a
Ooh.
motherfucker on crack.
Yeah.
So let's end the show with this, right? No one is ever going to get me to change my opinion on how I feel about harming a child. I look at, now, of course, this might be a bit extreme, but I look at you shooting up drugs while you're pregnant the same as I look at a child sex predator. You are harming a child.
Period. And you are. And it's true. You are.
Go to
But
jail. That's just
but in this particular, you know how this is going to inordinately affect women.
no.
That's
We saw how this affected people though, because our people were affected when they removed all of our fathers from the homes, all of our fathers from the neighborhoods. You know what?
so now you want to remove all the white women.
Yes. Not all of them. I need a couple for myself. But no, yes, because much like Dave Chappelle said in his most recent thing is, man, now I know how the white people felt when they saw us going through the crack epidemic. I don't care. When he's looking at these white people now that's strung out on, I don't care.
No, but you see, I do care because, like I said, that doesn't just affect them. That affects the city, the community, the nation. And it does. Because while we may not see the effects immediately, it's a trickle down. I mean,
Trickle down economics.
We lose resources. There's a drain on resources. There's a drain on lots of things. And then it's the human cost. So I do care. And I do especially care for these children who cannot fight for themselves. But I do not think putting these women in jail, taking these children and have them put in foster care, and that is not the solution. It wasn't a solution for us.
No. Let's take it a step further.
It wasn't the solution for us. It's not the solution for them.
Let's take it a step further. I think they should be executed.
And
I've said that before too. And
I know, but like I said, Dan, it was not the solution for us. You said, look what happened. We saw what it did to our community.
Yeah.
And
but our community was already struggling. We
are still feeling the effects of that.
We were already on crutches and wheelchairs. See, these motherfuckers, they aren't on crutches and their community has been thriving this entire time.
But so this is the way to take the man down?
They're taking themselves down.
This is the way.
They're taking all I want is one, equal treatment, but two, I don't care what color you are. If you harm a child, if you do anything to a child that hurts this child, fuck you, die slow.
All right, so let's and we are about to end it because we could go on and on and on. So let's take this a little step further. I know that I have a disease.
Mm-hmm. I know you got diseases too. Shit.
I know that I have a disease, and I bring that disease into my home that contain children, and You're being
too vague.
I have a disease.
I know,
and
you're being too vague. Which disease?
Well, let's say, all right, here we go. So I'm HIV positive.
Okay.
And I decide I want to have a child. Did you get it from
drug use?
No, I got it from sexual partners. No, I got it from drug transfusion.
A drug transfusion?
I'm sorry.
Damn.
Blood transfusion.
Y'all doing some new shit out here. Like you smoked the crack first and then we're going to transfer.
I got it from a blood transfusion.
Okay.
All right.
I know Paul's uncle actually had that happen to him before they started testing the blood for HIV.
So I got it from a blood transfusion.
Okay.
I'm a mother. Mm-hmm. I'm a woman.
Okay.
I'm HIV positive.
Up for debate, but okay.
Shut up. I'm HIV positive and I decide I want to have a child.
You decide that you want to have a child?
I decided I want to have a child. I
Adopt.
make the conscious choice. I want to have a child of my blood, of my body. So there's a shot that my child is going to be HIV positive. So
are we talking today's medical or are we talking
Yeah. And it's still a shot. But here we go. Here's my thing. So let's take what you said. You said anybody that harms a child, that child comes out HIV positive. Does that mother go to jail?
Intentionally harms a child. And
that's intentionally. I know that I have HIV and I intentionally bring a child into this world that may or may not be HIV positive.
Let me answer.
So does that mean, because by your theory,
say
that
less.
Person
say less. I know it, I'm gonna say yes, and this is why. If you also knowingly have HIV and you go around having unprotected sex with dudes without notifying them that you have HIV,
that's criminal. That is criminal. It is in the law. It is criminal.
Right. So the same for a child. Then I'm going with
it is criminal.
I'm going with yes. I'm going with yes. Go to jail.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Really?
You know you have HIV.
Really? I do.
And
so I shouldn't be able to have a child.
You should not be able to transmit your disease to somebody else without their consent. I mean, you got those bug chasers out there that
guess
want
what?
HIV.
A child can't consent. So
they can't.
But by the same token, I didn't get HIV intentionally. It happened to me. All right.
Right.
So let's go down that rabbit hole once again. If I have a cold and I transmit it to my child. If I have the flu and I transmit it to my child, if I have whooping cough and I transmit it to my child, by your theory, I'm going to jail because I just did something that harmed this child and I did it intentionally.
You intentionally gave your child a cold? What type of parent are you?
See, that's what I'm saying. That's how far down this rabbit hole we can go.
That's not the same. These are false parallels.
It is not false. It is not false. Intent is intent. Shit.
Intentionally transmitting HIV to another person, whether it be another man, woman, or child, and giving somebody a fucking head cold.
Do you know that a cold could kill a child? Do you know that a whooping cough could kill a child?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Do you know the flu could kill a child?
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like your input on this subject. I am done here. I am done.
But it's true. It is true. 100%. America and beyond. It is true.
Look, that camera about to cut off on your ass anyway.
Whatever.
Like, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, for real, give us your input.
We need feedback.
I believe that if you are a drug addict and you are pregnant and you're continuing to use drugs, you should be executed. However, I'll settle with you going to jail for attempted feticide. That's my theory. Anne believes, I don't know, loving drug addicts or some shit like that, treating them well.
I believe that, like I said, criminalizing this did not work for the Black community. It does not work. We need solutions that do not involve
death.
Separating families, and just we need things to bring communities together, not things that are going to put more children into a foster system that we know is broken.
We'll touch on that in a future episode. So again, let us know what you think. This has been another episode, Afro Becky-less, of Black Law and Legal Lies. Afro Becky out there smoking crack, y'all.
Oh, wow.
So, couldn't be here.
Really?
But don't forget, if you want to support this show, we got, look at these lovely t-shirts here. Black Law and Legal Lies.
Those are fire.
Man, one of the best two that we have. blacklawpodcast.com/shop. And I am your host, Dan. You can keep up with me on Twitter and IG at I am Dan on Drugs. The show across all platforms at Black Law Podcast.
I am Ann, another one of your hosts. You can follow me at I Tell Legal Lies on Twitter, which I do check sporadically. Thank you.
Kill them all.